I got 156 centimeters.
156.
It was stagnant for a really long time, for a little while there, and now as the programming is progressing, that's progressing as well.
I will splice this in.
Did we film that one? We
Yeah,
did
I
film
filmed
it.
it.
Sweet, yeah.
In slow-mo, in sweet slow-mo.
Sweet slow-mo.
So-
In her own words, I love chocolate and I'll never give it up.
That's right. She goes, how much weight do I have to do to be able to eat all the chocolate? That was a quote as well. I think it's great. And it's not giving Greta Thunberg a hard time. It's just because people get upset about stuff all the time. And it's fun. It's a fun sound clip to play.
Yeah.
And so whenever someone says something controversial or that I disagree with, it's,
How dare you!
it's great. Anyhow, she's going to get...
The first time I used knee wraps last week, on Monday actually, it
Yeah.
was interesting.
It was a little embarrassing, actually.
Well, for you, I didn't know it was embarrassing.
Okay.
The first time I used the knee wraps.
Anyhow.
Anyway. We're going to write down the stuff that we're going to be doing as well, right?
No, we're just going to wing it. Bunch of champions. Excuse me.
Well, what do you mean? Like, what do we need? We always need some things to write down.
Nope.
Have I got the how
Nothing.
dare? I do have it.
Dare you!
There
Yeah,
we go.
good. Make sure it is. Make sure it's loud enough because I'm actually. You can load these up. I'm going to load her onto here as well. So that just that will happen soon. I'm pretty excited about it. Actually, it's actually my new favorite sound clip of all time, potentially.
I know that you do like it. So you don't want to write anything down. You just want to be just be a goddamn hooligan.
Welcome back to the Big Flex, everybody.
I guess that's my answer. Welcome back to the Big Flex, everybody.
It's been a couple weeks, but we're back on track. We had some bit busy stuff happening. Where
so
we
yeah,
couldn't get in.
what are we flexing on today?
We're flexing on a few things today.
We're flexing on this book. We obviously don't need it anymore.
Yeah, no, we're not going to write that down. We're
I
going to wing
like
it.
to write stuff down. I like to be prepared, and I like to, just in case you forget stuff that we want to talk about or bring up. Nevin's a cowboy.
Are you trying to prove this to the people or to yourself, Adrian?
To you.
To me?
Yeah.
I know you're a good worker, mate.
If we come back through and forget anything that we should have talked about in this podcast, it's on you. It's on you.
I'll accept full responsibility. Actually, I lie. I delegate that responsibility to you as boss and owner of this facility. It's all about delegation skills. We learned this at a uni and MBA. You know, a good leader knows how to delegate.
Yeah, but you can't make
So
mistakes
where
and then
is your-
delegate those consequences onto me.
Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I didn't say it had to be good leadership. I'm just saying it's leadership. All right. So flexing on today.
It actually wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed to be this
Boo?
one.
How dare you!
That would have
yes.
been perfect.
The how dare you meme.
Actually, which brings me to my first point. So, this,
How dare you!
Greta, is her name Greta?
Greta Thunberg.
Greta just getting all upset at everyone about global warming. Nev, I played this a couple of weeks ago on one of our podcasts.
true.
This little meme,
dare you.
soundbite. And Nevin has been all over it like white on rice. He can't help himself.
I don't know
And
if
he's
you
been-
realised.
If you watch any of our other content, as it's been coming out over the last 2 weeks, it's all over it. So see if you can spot it. And if you have spotted it, comment on how many other things that it's been in, because I've lost count.
So it's not in the tutorials. We're keeping those real short, clean cut. Also, Mr. Thunderguns hasn't been cameoing in the tutorials. We might bring him back.
yeah, he's
but
making
I've been
guest
putting the How Dare You clip into all of the podcasts, whether they're the Big Flex or the Strength Institute podcast. I think it's great. And it's not giving Greta Thunberg a hard time. It's just because people get upset about stuff all the time. And it's fun. It's a fun sound clip to play.
Yeah.
And so whenever someone says something controversial or that I disagree with, it's
How dare you!
it's great. Anyhow, she's going to get loaded onto my soundboard soon, so I don't have to do it in post-production, which is how I've been doing it recently. But it's fun. It's all a bit of fun.
It is easier just having the...
Yeah, 100%.
nice.
So the first thing I want to talk about, and forgive us for being a little bit cryptic, guys, is there are some changes happening to the gym, apparently as soon as the 29th. I got the email that your items have been picked up for shipment by main freight and will be delivered by hopefully the 29th.
So there's a little bit of backstory on this, on these changes. There are some things coming into the gym to replace some of the old stuff, right? Out the old, in with the new. Like, for example, if you check out my Instagram, Coach Badrian, you'll see, like, we got the new calisthenics area where we stacked up some stuff for the rings, and it's a really cool area, right? We didn't tell anyone about it. We unveiled it as a surprise. And Nevin has been surprising everyone, including me, not letting me know when a couple of the changes that have been happening have been happening. He's like, oh, I'm thinking about selling this thing, and I might make this there. And there's nothing set in stone. Then I come in one morning and the GHR was gone, and I have to on the fly change my programming for some of my clients. I walk in, I'm like, where the hell is the thing? It's just a whole big empty square in the gym.
I am trying to encourage and improve your neural plasticity, sir. You need to be able to think quickly on the spot.
I can, but that doesn't mean that you can't just tell me if you sold something.
I feel like
Anyways,
there was adequate warning. Anyhow,
if you didn't know him or what he was doing, it'd look like he has a drug problem and he's just selling stuff for his next fix. But there are things coming.
There are things
to
coming.
replace
There are things coming.
the
And,
stuff.
and the next lot of things are coming on the 29th. Now, without giving away too much information, the stuff along the side, the things down there, they're getting changed. Actually, Dan Mackery's taking them because he wants them, and he's helping me out with something else that's coming later in about 1 to 2 weeks' time. Can't talk about that one just yet. Anyway, he's taking that stuff. There's new stuff going along there with 2 new things that go on that thing. Okay, so the new
those
thing goes down,
things.
and the 2 things go on the thing. Actually, it's 4 things, but in two lots of 2 things go in there. They're a little bit of cryptic information for you all, and then that means that we can push the benches a little closer together, push the weights tree back a little bit, and then there's a new thing going in front of that weights tree. Can't tell you what it is, which we can put things on, maybe some things, maybe lots of things. But that's the first lot of changes.
Was that to increase the amount of benches that we can have in total?
We will be able to have a 3rd bench in the dumbbell area after these changes.
Cool.
Yeah. Which is good because the benches, now that we're getting a little busier again, have been people have been competing for spots, which is fair enough.
We have been getting busier again. This Saturday mornings have been out of control.
It's been great. It's
been a
been
full
really
gym.
awesome to see everyone working so hard. So
It's
it's
good
been
to
good.
see.
So yeah, that's the first lot of changes, and I'm not going to say anything else more until they come, and then we'll get some photos and some videos up here for you when they do get changed. But
Look,
I
I
think it's
don't
pretty
mind
exciting.
if you don't say anything more until the stuff comes, but could you just tell me when you sell stuff that I use frequently?
We'll see. Maybe. We'll see. I mean,
Another key leadership skill.
another key leadership skill. I like I said, I feel like it's developing this ability to think on the spot faster, which is a good thing in the long run. All right.
Sure, you're making
Anyhow.
me a better person.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yep.
that.
So that's coming, which is great. And then, like I said, Dan Mackery's helping us out with something in the next week or 2, which is fantastic.
Is that the thing that you talked?
The thing down
about?
that side?
The thing that looks like that thing
The thing that looks like that thing, but it's a little different, and will go down there,
next to the other thing.
which is getting made by my friend Harry Scoble from
Yeah,
Scotech.
okay.
Now, if you've been watching the Instagram story or Instagram feed, you know who Harry Scoble is. He is a ex-professional rugby player with the Western Force. Friend of mine, we played rugby together first grade at UWA Rugby Club. He was my hooker, I was his loose head prop. It's a very intimate relationship on the field. You got to be comfortable with each other, guys. You got to be comfortable getting nice and close
You need
to
a
each other.
certain level of trust.
There's a lot of trust. Look, Harry and I go way back. Anyhow, we won premierships together, all right? So we're tight. But since finishing up his professional rugby days, he's an engineer. He works, fly in, fly out. And he's got a little fabrication and design business on the side called Scotech. Last name is Scoble, so Scotech. I can only imagine that's why. And he does actually some really cool stuff. So he's got this... it's a dynamometer, so it measures like forces and outputs in different fixed positions. And so he's at the moment in his marketing research phase. It's been with the Western Force for a year. They're using it for like hamstring strength, like during different parts of the season. You can test fatigue and see if there's going to be injury, maybe come back from injury. So some really cool clinical applications and professional sporting applications. He actually brought it in here to see if there's any like more powerlifting applications, which there was for the deadlift actually. So we're going to continue on that later. He's actually coming in for a Strength Institute podcast, and we're going to do a 50-50. It's going to be half podcast, half filming using the device, which is going to be pretty cool.
Really interesting. Yeah.
So that's happening. But he, with his fabrication side, he's like, if you ever need anything like custom made up, I can whip it up for you. So I was like, ooh, all right. So he's making another thing down that end, which you can then put things on while you're doing the thing. But again, I'm not going to give away too much information until it's
so
all ready.
far, we know it's either going to go in front of the thing.
No, it's going to be there by itself. The other thing, which we haven't discussed about, is going to go right here where this big thing is. That's going to shift down next to Dan Mackery's other
mind
thing.
again. So there's going to be the new thing.
The
and
new
then
thing, then
that
my thing, and then
that's
Dan's
there,
thing, and then the Harry Scoble
Okay,
thing.
lots
All
of
right?
new things.
It's so exciting.
Lots of new things.
I'm so excited.
And I understand what Nevin is talking about because we've been discussing this daily. Every single conversation we have about it is different. It starts like this. This is what Nevin's doing, right? I'm training a client or I'm training myself or something, and Nev's just sitting at the gym going like this. With this look on his face, right? And I'm like, what's up, Nev? And he goes, so here's the plan. And then he goes on a 25-minute rant about how things are going to change and where everything's going to go.
It's either that or people look at me and I just am mumbling apparently Gym Tetris. Gym Tetris. Shh,
And I
shh.
just play devil's advocate. Well, that might not work because of this, but what if this and this happened and this, and what if we do this, but what if we put that over here? And it changes every single day. So that little, and this thing goes over here thing conversation was new. Again, I know which things he's talking about, but they're all in new places now.
Also, fun new toy just arrived from Harris Stability Systems, the knee wrap roller.
Cool.
All right. Now, knee wraps, for those of you that don't know or aren't super familiar with heavy lifting or powerlifting or
I
anyone that
actually
uses knee
checked
wrap.
my Instagram account. I did, for the first time, I used knee wraps last week, on Monday, actually. It was interesting.
It was a little embarrassing, actually.
Well, for you, I didn't know it was embarrassing.
Okay.
It's the first time I used the knee wraps.
Anyhow.
Anyways.
We're not going to get too much into it. But yeah, so this little guy here rolls up knee wraps, and we're going to actually add a video how to roll up your knee wraps and how to apply your
What
knee
about for
wraps.
people
in
who
different
don't
styles.
know what knee wraps
So
are? Just give me a
basically,
quick
they're just
breakdown.
long elastic straps that, depending on what powerlifting federation you're in, they're allowed to be different lengths. So I want to say they're like between 2 and 2.5 meters long for the most part. There might be 3 meter long ones, but I think usually they're on standard about 2.5 meters. And this helps you apply them because otherwise you're like stretching them out and then rolling them up really tight. Think of like
really hard on your
think of like just like a compression bandage. If you were to get bitten by a snake, your CPR and first aid, you get those stretchy compression bandages, but then times that by like 50. It's really stretchy and thick.
Exclusively for squats as well. So you wrap your knees up, and then when you drop into your squat, there's a lot of extra resistance and tension. So you put more weight on the bar, and it helps you spring back up out of your squat.
Yeah, so basically there's and that works in two ways. Because it's really elastic and stretchy, it goes around your knee a bunch of times. It wants to keep that joint locked straight. So literally when you bend, like when you walk up to the bar when you have no weight, you're waddling like a penguin, like you can't bend your knees. You force yourself under the bar, and the weight helps force you down into this position.
I couldn't get on my first rep. I didn't get depth. I think first 2 reps, I didn't get depth. It was really hard with the weight on the bar. Even with the weight on the bar, I had 160 first go, 170 the second go.
Yeah.
I went 160. I didn't expect it to be that much tension, and it was still super loose apparently. And it was
so
really
loose.
hard to hit depth.
It was
and
loose.
I squat ass to grass. I touch ass on ankles when I squat, and I couldn't even get depth on this one.
And he couldn't even get parallel depth on that one. And then once you pass parallel depth, what makes it even harder for someone like Adrian, which he's got to realize that, when you're putting on knee wraps, there's not really a huge benefit going ass to grass, especially if you're putting them on tight, which we haven't yet, but we will at some point. We'll work up to it. Is that not only do they want to keep your knee straight, the more revolutions you get around your knee, the more material bundles up behind your knee. So it's this stopping power, which sort of like stops you right around that, parallel mark ideally, depending on how many revolutions you get. So one, it wants to keep the knee straight. And 2 is that it has this stopping power on your way down when the material bundles up. So knee wrapping's been, we've introduced this back into the program for our squat challenge because we will be competing under GPC rule set, which means we're allowed knee wraps. And it's user's choice. If Adrian doesn't want to use them, if he feels like he gets more rebound out of the bottom using sleeves, he can do that. I'm going to definitely be wrapping.
I don't want to use them because everyone keeps saying it to me. You don't need to squat that low. And I don't need to. I want to.
Yep.
I want to have my 200
And
plus
that's
squat.
fine. But then you do have to remember what you always tell me. Oh, remember, it's a squat challenge. How much can you squat? Right? It's not
exactly.
a...
So
right.
I did get... It was easy. So I did that 170 easy with the knee wraps. It was not. It was a breeze. I could have done that all day long. So I did feel the difference. Absolutely helped a lot.
100%.
So I'm going to be using them each week now on my heavy squats. Last couple of reps of the last set or so. Just get used to them, familiar with them, and then start using them properly.
That's right. And the reason why this roller is so handy, guys, is because you attach it to like a cage or something that's fixed, and you put your wrap in the end, and then you stretch it, you pre-stretch it, and you roll it up, which makes it a lot easier because otherwise you like have it under your foot and you're stretching with your arms, you're trying to twist it up, and it actually cooks your forearms.
It does.
Plus, when you're putting them on tight, it cooks your forearms a bit as well. So this is actually doing a lot of saving time and energy rolling the wraps up. And then you still have to, it's still hard to put them on people if you're putting them on tight. But yeah, only 50% of the work now. So I'm pumped with that. I'm really excited to see how it goes. I've done a couple practice runs without actually putting them on just to see.
So can you use that to wrap your own knees, like wrap yourself?
Yeah, like do you know how I self-wrapped my knees last week?
Exactly.
I'll be doing that today after this podcast. I got squats. So I'll be using this bad boy just again, like a lightish tension through there, and then I can apply myself.
I will not be doing that because it is my deload week and I'm really enjoying it. I'm only just today, Thursday into the week, just now feeling good again. I've
Yeah.
been exhausted all week. I'm finally feeling strong and bouncing back, and I'm excited about next week again.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a deload. Well, sort of. I was a bit under the weather for a week, so I didn't train. So that was my deload week. It was week 2, and I didn't want to then go, work hard week 1, be sick week 2, so I didn't train. Work hard week 3, and then have a deload. Didn't make sense. So I'm basically going, I push my week 2 to week 3. I push my heavy week 3 to week 4, which is meant to be my deload, and I'm going straight into the next round. So I'm not getting a deload for about 6 weeks opposed to 4. But I think that's fine because like I said, I had a deload before plus that sick week.
I did the same thing when we were in our volume. I think it was the 10. One of the 10 weeks there. There's a third week before we were supposed to have a deload, and I did the same thing. I got sick then and treated that like my deload, and then just rolled straight through to this general strength without having that deload in between. So mine's 5 weeks before the deload.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the monthly like we had.
But I'm feeling good. I'm getting back into a roll. Deadlifts are feeling great. And I know I've been saying this for ages, but my biggest deadlift ever was raw. So just like gripping the bar with your hands, not with straps, and with a belt, was 290. And the goal has like always been 300. That's sort of like the mythical creature for me. That's like my, what are they called? Like the white buffalo in the Hot Tub Time Machine. That's my white buffalo. Is it the white buffalo?
I thought you were going to say that was it chasing the dragon, but that's like a
No,
heroin
that's a
thing,
heroin
right?
thing.
Yeah, that's
Don't
definitely
do
not
that.
the right one.
Yeah, no. I'm looking for my white buffalo. I'm pretty sure the white buffalo is like the elusive thing.
The
that you
Harry
never
Potter
find.
thing? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, no. There are too many different
Oh
things.
yeah,
I
you're
was
thinking
thinking
of
like
that,
the white
yeah,
stag.
No.
Yeah.
So the white buffalo, I think they're just making reference to it's like the one that got away, like the one that you could never quite get and reel in. So the 300 deadlift. Now, I feel like I could have gotten that many times, but I've always then been like, little niggly injuries from rugby, and I wasn't focusing on lifting, and then I was, whatever. Everything is coming together nicely. So as a side goal to this squat challenge, I want to hit that 300 kilo deadlift this year. So I'm really amped about that. And that's where Adrian keeps going, remember, it's a squat challenge.
I know, because you're getting too carried away with it. Well, that's the thing. You're telling me that I need to don't use straps for deadlifts. Well, I'm not trying to lift really heavy and work on my forearm strength. I'm trying to lift as heavy as possible, and everything complements my squat. So if I need straps for deadlifting, I don't care about deadlifting. I'm trying to squat heavy. And speaking of, you were saying the elusive goal for you, that 300.
The white buffalo.
I was thinking my elusive squat goal was to get 200, which I kind of went for once before. I've never really dedicated this much time to strength. I've always been doing, I've been doing a lot of other skills, like 2 or 3 different types of things all at once. Lots of variation in my training. And I use my strength and conditioning to kind of help with all the other stuff. But it's been a while since I've just focused on strength and conditioning. And now being here, being able to use all the strength gear that I want as often as I want. And we have awesome stuff here as well. And then the programming that we're doing, as well as stuff like knee sleeves, wrap shoes, I've lifted completely raw in the past, never even used a belt. So now using belt, shoes, knee sleeves, knee wraps, the whole lot. I only thought that I was going to be able to get 200, and that would be a bit of a struggle even. And now, with how well things are going now, I'm starting to think that I'm going to get well over 200. Ooh. Just interesting to see how far over 200 I could get.
It is very
and
interesting.
Then,
I'm intrigued.
Same with my deadlift. I'm pretty interested to see if I can get them both over. I know that I'll get my 200 by the end of the year. I'm thinking about 220 plus deadlift and maybe around the same for squats. I'm not sure.
I think it's hard to tell with squats. I feel like
with knee wraps,
yeah, but I feel like with your
squats,
squats, it's like
breeze.
I rarely see you grind a squat out. So I feel like you're one of those people that is like clean, not like done.
Yeah.
Whereas like
that's how I roll.
Some people like
I'm all about that
some
100% maximum effort every squat.
But what I'm saying is some people when they squat, it like looks like damn that's a struggle, but they can still go like 50 kilos heavy. It's like every rep is
Every
freaking keep
single
doing
rep,
it.
exactly.
So like I don't know for you, but I think that your deadlifts are coming along great. So I wouldn't
be a little
surprise
bit
me
to
if
do
you
with
can
that,
get.
like-
I would love to see the 4 reds 220 on a deadlift for you this year. I think that would be
I reckon I
fantastic.
get 220. But with how good my squats are feeling, I'm thinking that I'm going to get well over that for the squat challenge. So I'm excited.
I hope so, because
the goal now
I
is
am-
how far over 200
I'm looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be great.
And speaking of secondary challenges as well, you're saying your secondary, the deadlift, to the squat
300
challenge.
deadlift. Yeah.
I mentioned a little while ago that the box jump challenge was a challenge of mine, jumping my own height. 173 to 175. My height changes apparently pretty often. I got 156 centimeters.
156.
It was stagnant for a really long time, for a little while there, and now as the programming's progressing, that's progressing as well.
I will splice this in.
Did we film that one? We
Yeah,
did
I
film
filmed
it.
it.
Sweet, yeah.
In slow mo,
So-
in sweet slow mo.
Sweet slow mo. So that's coming along nicely as well, and I feel like that's improving really good every single week, like
Happy
very,
days.
very well. And yours as well. I was watching your box jumps the other day.
Ooh,
I went coming together as well.
I did a 100. I did 3 sets of 3 at 120 centimeters, but from a seated position, which I was pretty pumped with.
Yeah, the seated
So I'm going to start increasing that height now with the small mats. So I'm excited. So we've actually got a new segment that I want to introduce to the podcast, and this is going to help get more user involvement and like member and subscriber involvement. Is that we are putting a segment into every the Big Flex podcast, user or we call it subscriber questions, and we didn't actually post anything about it this week. So I quickly ran out into the gym and asked 2 of our members. I said, "Hey, give us a question quickly." But moving forward, if you want a question answered in the next podcast, leave it in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. All right.
And we'll give you a shout out. We'll give you a shout out. Say who you are, what the question is, all that sort of jazz. And if your question's good enough, you may get some sort of reward. It depends.
A reward.
It
We haven't talked about this, but okay, we'll talk about that a bit
Well,
more.
I was thinking about that as well when you mentioned it. What's the point, you know? And I'm thinking that
The point is to get their question answered.
the question answered exactly, but as more of an incentive of a reward, if you ask a question and it's something that is interesting enough for us to like do something with, we can maybe like, how do I get my jump higher? Like we could make a video or something like that about those.
I like
So
it.
the questions could lead into some more content as well.
Perfect. And so what we're going to be doing, we're going to look at the comments from the video from this week for our next podcast. We're also, before we run the podcast, maybe the day before, on both of our Instagram accounts, we're going to then make little, you can ask me a question. That's like one of the options there. Ask us a question for tomorrow's party. So we'll start getting questions in, which would be kind of fun as well. Now, the first question, solid question from, what just would you use first names? From Fiona, subscriber and member and client Fiona, all right? And she asked us, what is the fine line that you dance on between warming up and working out? Because she wants to get a thorough warm-up in. She's been, and I'll give some backstory. She's been having some recurring injuries and some things that keep flaring up. And it's coming from mainly from lack of mobility in some areas and hyperflexibility in other areas, right? So these are some issues that she's been working with. She was really frustrated. Unfortunately, she couldn't get through her states in the fashion that she wanted at States GPC. She wanted to really push for PBs everywhere. Got one on the squat, which was great, but had to pull out of the deadlift early just from these things that had been going on beforehand. And so since then,
Was it that comp that she got an injury in her glute?
No, it was before. It was a lead up. It was like 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating because it wasn't even like a 1RM. It was probably about a 87.5% deadlift, and on the first rep it went, right? So kind of annoying. But anyhow, she's now been taken under your wing on this mobility program, which she's already getting results because I saw that she posted she did her warm up in half an hour today as opposed to like the 45 minutes that it has been taking,
the
right?
first time that we did it, I actually spent the first session with her a full hour it took us to get through.
Yeah.
And so it's good that she's cut that time in half. It's great.
Right. So basically she goes, the problem is by the time I get to the workout, I'm so tired from the warm up. So like, where is this line? And I think that's a really important question. And the answer is depends.
It does.
Depends.
It depends. It totally depends. In Fiona's case, so in her case specifically, she is unbelievably tight. So much so that trying to do a sport like powerlifting, she's loading her body up and her weight, her like body isn't handling that weight. Her biomechanically, it's just not working. So instead of getting stronger, she's getting injuries. So in her case, because she's so tight, working through this mobility, it's taxing. It's hard. You sweat through it. It's really, really rough. Because she's so tight, there's so much stretch and so much tension. And as you know, it's the reason why you don't stretch a lot before sports. Stretching your muscle fibers can like decrease power production. That
correct.
sort of stuff,
Yeah.
right? So because she's so tight right now,
Static stretching. Whereas that's why they encourage more dynamic movement and stretches.
And although all of the stuff that she's doing is dynamic, there's a lot of it, right? And she doesn't have a huge range as it is. So for her, it's fatiguing. It's really, really fatiguing. So by the time she gets to a workout, she's not going to be feeling great right now. But like you said, she cut it down and down and down. It's taking her half an hour now. It'll start to take her 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. And once she's blowing through it and it's not a grind to get it done and her body just moves better, it'll be more of an actual warm-up instead of a workout.
Correct. And so that is the goal basically with warm-ups, guys. It's to prepare you to be able to lift as competently, like as heavy and as smoothly and as well as you can in the workout. Now with Fiona, basically the answer to your question is at the moment your warm-ups are they're a part of your workout. It's not.
probably the
It's not
main
separate.
focus
It is
even.
actually the main focus of your workout. She's doing a volume block at the moment anyway, so it's not real heavy. So she's doing all this mobility, and then she's got to get into reps. So it's been tough for her, which is good though. Like we're giving the body a break from the heavy stuff. We're letting it repair. You've been great at getting it into these new exercises to increase her range of motion and be able to squat deeper and everything like that. So hopefully moving forward, as you said, once it goes from an hour to 45 to half an hour to 15 to 10, once it's a 10-minute warm-up, that's a warm-up. I guarantee it's not going to be a grind for her if she can get
it
everything
won't.
through in 10 minutes.
It just takes time, and it took me time as well. So first starting off doing that, I used to be a thicker bodybuilder type before I started getting to all this mobility stuff, and it used to take me a really long time. I got onto Ido Patel, if anyone knows who that is. A lot of his squat clinic stuff and his movement-based stuff, and I liked it, so I just started doing it before all of my workouts because I didn't have a lot of time. And initially, I was like, I'll try this out before my workout. It ended up taking the time that it took to do my workout. So that was the workout for a while, and that's just how it works. You get 1 or 2% increase. Like we spent 45 minutes doing some squat mobility on what day is it today? On Tuesday. And when she first walked in, she couldn't sit into her squat. She kept falling out of it. And then by the end of it, the 45 minutes, she was just balancing and being able to sit deep enough to sit in a passive squat. And that'll be 45 minutes worth of work now. But then next week, it'll be 40 minutes. And the week after, 30 minutes. And then the week after. And it's like 1 or 2% increase in range of motion. And not just flexibility, mobility, is functional strength through that range as well. Right. So that range of motion slowly increases bit by bit by bit. But then once you've got the range, once you've got the deep squat, once you're already in a good position, your body moves well, you don't need to keep going. It's just getting there is the hard part. Yep. And then she's just got to grind that out. She's got to get there. So it's time and consistency.
That's right.
Fiona. You will get there, and it will suck.
And it's also dependent on the person's goals. So like, for example, with my warm-up at the moment, like I've got squats today. I'm not going to be doing a 45-minute warm-up. What do I need to accomplish in a squat? My range of motion is fine. I have no issue with that. Does anything break down mechanically when I squat? Not really. I don't go into knee valgus, like my knees don't buckle in. If anything, maybe I tip a little forward in the chest, and my left rotator cuff has been playing up a little bit. So basically, my warm-up is to, Cuban rotation, some external rotation with the dumbbell, get the shoulders warmed up. I get my lower back and glutes warmed up a little bit, and then I'm straight into my squats because that's all the warm-up I need to be able to squat well. Right? So warm-up really is dependent on what your goals are and where you are at the moment. So don't just go in. It's like everything. Like I don't like trash reps. Like when we do weights, we don't just do reps for the sake of doing reps. Everything should have a reason. So when you're doing a warm-up, make sure your warm-up is actually specific to yourself. And if you're not sure, send us an email, guys. We do online coaching here. Or pop on into the Instagram, to the Institute, and we'll get you sorted out. Yeah. But that was a great first question. The inaugural question on subscriber questions at the Strength Institute. Now, we do have a second question from Ashley. Yes? And from
Ashley.
Yes. She goes...
For those people who don't know Ashley?
Ashley is our remedial massage therapist from Northern Beaches Sport and Remedial Massage.
She's next door. We can hear her right now.
She's fantastic. If you have any issues and you are in the northern suburbs, hey, even if you're in the southern suburbs, first of all, move north because north side, best side. And then book a session with her. But make sure you book 3 weeks in advance and make sure it's ongoing because she's hard to get in with.
So busy. It's
because she's so good. She does the rock scraping, the suction bubbles, dry needling, deep tissue, sports massage.
Relaxation.
If you're a little
she
soft.
does everything.
She's
I've
great.
had a lot of different soft tissue worked on over the years, and she is hands down the best that I've ever worked with. Mm-hmm. She's amazing.
Anyway, her question was, Nevin, I am at the gym 6 days a week. How come I'm not losing weight? And I said, well, Ashley, that's because you work here and you only train once a week. so I said, and she goes, and
she's not wrong. She's still technically at the gym.
She is at the gym 6 days a week. But what matters is what you do at the gym. And also, very important, you got to be on top of your nutrition. Yep. And mind you, when she's on top of her nutrition and doing the things, all the things go in the right direction.
But so, in her own words, I love chocolate and I'll never give it up.
That's right. She goes, how much weights do I have to do to be able to eat all the chocolate? That was a quote as well. And that's why we love you, Ashley, because you work hard, you massage hard, and
you play hard.
You eat chocolate like a damn champion. All right? And we love that here at the Strength Institute. You gotta earn the fun things in life.
Nothing in half measures.
That's right. Absolutely.
So
I'm just gonna. That battery was looking a little low, so I'm just gonna make sure because I don't want to lose any of this beautiful content. One second. I've actually talking about new stuff coming in. My dad is a photographer, lifelong photographer. He's actually published his photos in, I believe, 3 books. And he's got quite a nice little setup at home, which I'm always on his case. I'm always on his case on to hey, you got all this cool stuff, like, and he's setting up his own little podcast area, but he's yet to put the podcast live on his website. When that is live, we'll leave the link.
I was going to say, yeah, leave the link not only on his website, but on the content that he's been published. That's actually really interesting.
That is cool. And he's got this really sweet little monitor called the Atomos Ninja 5, which basically is a monitor that plugs into your camera. Now, these cameras, they have 20-minute recording time limits because originally they were for pictures, and then there was something to do with like a luxury item tax where if it was like an ongoing, it was weird. They changed it so basically it's a 20-minute recording limit. That's why I'm up every 20 minutes making sure that stuff is not run out of time. Yep. Whereas the Atomos is a monitor that sees what this camera sees in as good a high definition, 4K, 60 frames per second, like brilliant.
Yeah.
Great color, but you actually have a built-in memory drive, like a terabyte, and then you can record just the entire length of the. You could record for hours straight. So he's got one of those, which I was like, hey, Dad, how about you just like handle that this way? He's like, oh, how about you buy one? I was like, all right. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
So we're gonna maybe look at that as things slowly keep. We slowly keep improving the production value here.
So
I
wait,
think
it's a monitor, not a camera. What's the?
no, it's a monitor that plugs into your camera, but it is also a recorder. So it records everything it sees. When you plug it to the camera, it sees what the camera sees, and it records. So what we can do is you can still record in the camera as a backup, but then have the main thing recording it in the monitor itself.
That's pretty handy.
Yeah, it's very cool. So we're gonna see, and you can actually plug the Rode Podcaster into the monitor as well, which means I wouldn't have to do any post-production. The sound goes in and the video goes in. It's all done for me.
This brings me to another question, and this also is gonna have some relevance to what we were talking about before about all the new changes happening in the gym.
Yeah.
Now I understand that it exists and that you can get it and you could use it, but do you really need it?
Hey,
Because it
you're not
seems
the one.
like-
You're not
it
the one
seems
editing
like-
all of these videos.
Sure,
mate.
but editing is free, right? And this monitor is not. It seems like
I'm missing the point of your.
it seems like
question.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It works. Everything works really well.
Adrian, I'm trying to decrease the post-production man hours so that I can increase the amount of content that comes out.
I'm trying to keep my job. Is what I'm trying to increase the amount of jobs that I have with all the stuff you've been buying lately. Look, I'll give you this. All the changes happening in the gym and all the stuff that we're getting, all the stuff that's going to make space for the new stuff. I love it. I dig it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I would
It's
also
really
like to
cool.
note that everything that's come in, except for the rings, like the 2 uprights.
Yeah.
So the 2 uprights that the rings came on, which are cheap, they came from China. All right. But apart from those 2 uprights, everything that's coming in is made in Australia with Australian steel.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it is made by homemade fabricators here, which is fantastic. So,
is.
and
You
again, I
gotta
can't
support
say what
local,
it is.
especially during these
We're supporting
times.
local.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything that's coming in is everything from the new grips that are in the calisthenic. Like we've got these really cool, like we call them the
Gravity
devil's
grips?
cones,
They're
gravity
awesome.
grips.
Yeah.
Australian made by Australians here over East.
Because anytime you order anything, I bought some socks for our on Saturdays we wear silly socks.
Silly
I
sock
bought some
Saturday.
socks. It's been weeks, months now. Actually, I'm still waiting. What the hell? I'm never ordering anything again. I'm gonna have to wait years until all of this, just the wait on the Australian post system, not even Australian post system, it comes off. It's just everywhere, worldwide. There are so many issues. You can't get anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's driving me crazy. I wanted to buy some ring straps for the gym. Just, what really grinds my gears?
Oh,
I'm going to go on
God.
a rant now. The world is sold out. Someone's like, buy them off eBay. eBay sold out. Amazon sold out. Like anywhere in the world, everywhere's sold out of everything. And when you can get it, it takes way too long to
So
get here.
if you have
Not fair.
If you have some 10-meter long straps, just send them on into the Strength Institute.
8 meters? Was that 20 foot?
No, I think it's over 4 meters each one. So you want to go at least 9-meter straps, or you want to get into the floor for some of them. Anyhow, everything that's coming Australian made, which is pretty cool.
I'm really excited about the stuff that we bought a little while ago. We got some more equipment because we've decided that we're going to be competing next year, like we're going to get as many people as we can in our gym involved, and we're just going to do a big, like we're going to be a gang basically, and compete in a powerlifting competition.
Yeah.
So we bought, what is it called? It's not a squat suit. Is it a squat suit?
Soft suit.
Soft suit. A soft suit. We got a few other bits and pieces. I got my knee sleeves. I'm waiting for those to come in.
When they do come, we'll do a podcast in our soft suits.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Actually.
And our knee sleeves. Yeah, it'll be great. So
That'd be
basically,
awesome.
yeah. So we had such a fun time coaching the three ladies through. Sorry, not the three ladies. The two ladies through the
ladies?
novice comp,
Just
and then the
Megan?
three ladies through states. There was like, you know what? Let's do this. And Megan always just gives me a hard time. She's like, oh, you won Australia's Strongest Man 2011. Like, you're letting your talents getting wasted because you're not competing. I'm like, hey, I'm doing other things in my life. It's not all about competing as strongman. But I really enjoyed it, and I haven't technically done a powerlifting meet before. So training up for this squat challenge has been really motivating. The deadlift improving has been motivating. Who cares about bench press? So I figured we're going to get a squad together for GPC States next year. So sometime, I think they might hold it a little earlier. I think it was a bit delayed this year because of COVID. So let's just say 8 to 12 months from now, there'll be GPC States hopefully. And we want to get a squad of at least 10 people. Now I know 3 of my online clients, keen. All right, you and me, we're committed. Big Gavin, committed. Jess, Fiona, Megan, committed.
I'm gonna get Sarah involved as well.
Sarah, you got
Yeah.
Tito, potentially Byron, right?
I reckon Byron's on board. We're gonna
we
get
got
a couple
Mike,
of people.
we're gonna
in
get
as well.
Mike. Mike's
Yep.
in.
We're trying to
So-
get as many people as we can and just get a whole group of people. The Strength Institute strong.
We're gonna get
in
a
there.
squad.
It's gonna be good.
And the other
so
thing
we had
was-
to buy some equipment for that. That's where the soft suit comes in, and some of that other equipment we got comes in.
And the other reason was because at States they have a big screen up for the club championships. So all the clubs that have or gyms that have members competing, first place is 3 points, the second place is 2 points, and the third place is 1 point in every division. So Ruchi's gym, who hosts it, they usually dominate it because they have a lot of powerlifters out of their gym, so they do quite well across the board.
Strength in numbers.
But at one point, I was sitting in, I think, in 4th place. I was like, oh, it was either 4th or 5th, and then I dropped down because I only had 3 competitors.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, this feels good. I liked it. It got the competitive juices flowing a little
So
bit.
if we had enough people, you think we'd have a legitimate
We
chance?
just got to make sure everyone's spread across a lot of divisions because people here are strong. We've got some strong
are.
athletes
They
here,
are.
which is why I had to get some of the things for Big Gavin because he was just like maxing out the other things.
Need some new things because he's too strong for the
Too
gym.
strong. So I'm really excited. But so that we're going to do that next year for sure.
Cool. That'll be very exciting. It's gonna be good to get the whole team involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apart from our little hiatus, I believe we're up to like 80 or 90 tutorial videos now up online, which is
Yeah.
great. So that's slowly filling out. We still have probably 100 to come, guys.
got a
And we
lot to
are
do.
going to put the whole catalog up there. And this also reminds me, this is why we don't need pen and paper. Come on, we got this. Is that our 100 subscriber, 100 squat challenge actually did really
Yes.
well on YouTube. People liked it. They watched it. They thought it was quite entertaining watching us two struggle through 100 squats, 110, did 10 pity reps for him. So what we decided to do, guys, come on,
should have
do
it
it.
ready.
Yeah, you got to. Come on.
How dare you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, continue.
I'll give you this one. All right.
I see your
Battle of the soundboard.
And I raise you.
Battle of the soundboards. All right. So, is that we are going to do a 1,000 squat challenge for our 1,000th subscriber. Now, I think that's a big deal. 1,000 subscribers. So, what we're going to do is
We need to come up with a way of doing this because I don't think that you could do 1,000 squats without doing some actual tissue damage.
No,
right?
we can. Well, technically, we're going to be doing 500. So here's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
Right, for everyone listening, if you have ideas, chuck them in the comments. Is that you and I? We're not competing this time in a
No.
race.
No.
You and I are working together to
Yep.
get 1,000 squats. Now, you already manned up and said you were happy to do the 100 kilos, not the body weight.
Yep.
So we're going to get 1,000 100 kilo squats, all right, in one sitting. Now,
Yep.
we did it in, I think I did mine in 12 minutes of 100 squats.
Yeah.
So technically we'll be doing 500 each. I'm under no illusion that we're going to get this done within an hour or two. Like it might take 2, 3, 4 hours. I have
gonna
no
be
idea actually. But basically we're
whole-
just going to go 1 for 1. 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, or maybe it's better to go 5, 5, 5, 5, fatigue less each time. I'm not sure. We will figure that out. But I feel like the goal is going to be 1,000 100 kilo squats between us continuously in one setting or one sitting. And we might even like make it a little fundraiser. Like we get some
That's what I was
donations for it
thinking,
and
right?
we donate it all to a worthy cause at the end.
So what I was thinking
Maybe
was
to something like powerlifting.
yeah, something like that. We could help to grow the community that we work in. So
That's right.
I was thinking instead of making it a challenge, because that would be way too much, or instead of any one person doing the 1,000 squats, because that's too much. Even 1,000 squats of my own body weight is 75. Like after a while, if you're trying to do that in 24 hours, it's just too much, especially if you're not conditioned for it. Now, before we did our other squat challenge, 100 squat challenge, we were right bang on the end of our volume block. So we were doing a lot of squats. But now we're all the way into our strength block, and that's assuming that we get to the 1,000 subscribers.
General strength.
That's assuming we get to the 1,000 subscribers anytime soon. But apparently we're just not doing any prep for it, right? We're just gonna get in like we did last time and do it when it happens. As soon as that,
I'm down to do some prep if you want to, but
All right.
you have to keep in mind that we were coming off a volume block, and yeah, so we're used to doing 40 reps in a session. Like it's 4x10s. It was 43 reps of squats.
yeah. But even so, across the week, we were doing a lot of volume in the week.
Correct, but it was all lightweight. Now we're doing less volume, but the weights are significantly heavier. Like today, all my sets are going to be over 200, right? So it's less reps. Well, I'm still hitting 16 reps as opposed to 40, but it's all heavy weights.
In my
right?
head, I think that's the difference between doing a sprint and running a marathon, right? One
I've done
helps-
both, and they're both easy.
One helps with the other one, but you can't just switch and do the other one right away, right? Or not well anyway. But anyways, my point is there should be some level of conditioning for it. Like we're not going to try the 1,000 squat challenge beforehand, but at some point, I think we might need to have a sub, right? So if one of us has to bow out, say like a hip flexor goes, bear with me, a hip flexor goes, or like the back is starting to get a bit too sore or something. Like we don't want to be too much with it. We want it to be a good, healthy challenge in our gym where we're not just going to push ourselves, grind it into the ground, be like, oh, how'd you tear your glute, So I think that we should have a sub, and we should do a bit of a contest to see who gets to sub for you and for me, just in case anything does happen, right?
Gavin.
For you?
Gavin.
I want Tito.
That's perfect because Tito is just like maybe a slightly smaller version of you. Like you're basically the same thing.
He's like 10 kilos less than me.
But you look the same, especially when he grows a beard.
Yeah, we do look exactly the same.
And that just means that
we should do a contest though. Instead of just naming someone, right? Gavin should have to work for it. All right.
Should.
I'm not sure how. I don't know how or how we're going to run the contest.
I'd have to get way more jacked if I want to look like Gavin too.
Just put on another person. But I think that we should hold some sort of contest to see who gets a sub for us, because I think that'll be a really fun challenge leading up to the challenge. But I think we also definitely need subs just in case anything goes wrong. It's a lot of volume, and 100 squats versus 500 each, that's a big increase.
But it is. But also, I don't like the idea of having an out. I understand it's good to have a backup plan. But like when I was training for the marathon and I was talking with Dr. Ian Dunnican, who's the sleep scientist, PhD sleep scientist, who also does ultra marathons and marathons regularly. And he said, no, you need to have multiple levels of goals. So he goes, your first goal should just be complete it. Doesn't matter if you walk half of it, just complete it.
Yep.
Second goal is to get, the average seat to surf time, which is what the original goal was, which is what I got. And maybe your top range goal is to go sub 4 hour, right? So multiple levels of goals. And I told him, I understand like it's important to have levels of goals, but I don't like the idea of, hey, it's all right if you just finish it. Because in my mind then it's leaving that little seed of doubt like, oh, it's really tough with 8Ks to go. Just walk it. You still finished it. Just walk it. And I don't like having that doubt in my mind. I want to go in sort of back against the wall a bit and be like, got to do it now. Time to show up.
I understand that, and I understand that you have to think you're going to win to win. No one's like, oh, maybe I might win, and then they crush the competition. You need to have those balls. You need to have that just undying faith in yourself, right? There is absolutely something to that, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have that. I'm just trying to be realistic, right? My hip flexors were pretty cooked. My back was pretty cooked after just smashing out that 100 squat challenge. I did it, and it was great, and it took a week to recover, but I was fine. But just trying to be as realistic as possible. Not having an out. If we're going to do a fundraiser and we want to do a squat challenge and I tear a glute and I actually literally cannot anymore, not because I'm like, oh, it hurts, I don't want to, but let's say one of us gets an injury. After 250 squats, you're probably going to be a bit sloppy and your technique's going to start to break down and something could go wrong. So instead of having an out, it's more like planning for just in case. Being able to complete the challenge no matter what is more on my mind, right? Because if we're going to make this a big old deal, then we've got to make sure that we've got all of our ducks in order. Plan for if something goes wrong, not plan to bail out of it. If I can do it, I'm going to do it. But, it's a lot of squats, man.
Right.
It's a lot of squats.
We'll figure it out. I guess the answer is, we'll figure something out that works But I'm excited. So, we're only at 112 subscribers at the minute. So it's going, but we've got a fair way before we get to 1,000. So,
which is kind of exciting because I'm very soon going to start a bit of a campaign to jack that number up there, and I'm going to start to promote our 1,000 squat challenge. So I'm going to do a little bit there to push that goal.
But before we promote it, we have to come out with some solid arrangements. This is what we're doing.
Oh,
so we
yeah.
have something to promote.
So, actually, on that, if we are going to do some sort of fundraiser, if there's anyone out there in the fitness industry that needs funds raised, this could be a really good opportunity. So if you're sitting there watching that and you know of some sort of fundraising thing that we could do, or someone we could contact, or someone that could contact us, let us know in the comments.
Well, I think right now the front runner, and this is only because I'm friends with him and I know him and he's been on the podcast, is Ben Wright, who's a power lifter. Mm-hmm. And when we're talking with him, it's up to him when he represents Australia at Commonwealth Games and whatnot. He pays for his flights and stuff. Oh, big time.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I would and that's something that we're both into is the strength, health and fitness, especially it's powerlifting. So at the moment, my I want to back powerlifting. I think all money goes towards that to help support the athletes that are representing this country.
Absolutely.
But if anyone has a equally as good or better idea, please let us know your thoughts.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nice.
All right. I think it's a good start.
Yeah.
First steps towards our 1,000 squat challenge.
Absolutely. And
Excited about it.
Yeah, I think
that's pretty much
I
everything
think that's
for today.
everything we're
We've covered
flexing on today,
everything.
dude.
All right. Okay.
Guys.
Oh, wait. Whoa. One more thing.
Yeah.
Look at this guy
Yeah, Thunder
right
Guns.
here. Check out how long this moustache is getting.
Hey, one sec.
It's getting up there. It's never been this long before.
Actually, look at the camera. Damn, dude.
Right?
You need a little
It's
bit
pretty
more
close,
volume,
right?
but it's...
I know. I need rosier cheeks, but apart from that,
Well, we can do that.
it's almost there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Soon.
Guys, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, share, comment, do all that good stuff. And we will see you on the next episode of the Big Flex podcast.
Thanks
Cheers,
for watching, guys.
Have a good one.
See you later.